All right, today we are jumping into one of the biggest intellectual showdowns of the last 100 years or so, modernism versus postmodernism. And look, these aren't just dusty old theories for a philosophy class. No, these are two completely different ways of seeing the world, and they shape our politics, our culture, and our very idea of what's true.
And really, it all comes down to this one huge question. Is there a master plan for humanity? A single correct way to build a better world? Or is that whole idea just a dangerous fantasy? So hang on to that question, because pretty much everything we're about to talk about is a battle over the answer.
Okay, so first up in the ring, let's talk about the modernist promise. This way of thinking really exploded out of the Enlightenment, and it came onto the scene with this incredibly bold, optimistic vision for the future.
At its core, modernism is all about confidence. It's this powerful belief that we, as human beings, can use our brains, rational thought and science, to figure literally everything out. And not just physics or chemistry, but society itself. It's the idea that there are objective, universal truths out there, and if we can just find them, we can engineer a better, more just world for everybody.
The best way to think about a modernist is like an architect. They truly believe they can design a perfect society with a clear blueprint. So, step one is their building material, faith in reason. Step two, those are the foundational pillars, universal truths like human rights and liberty. Step three is the whole point of the building project, progress, this belief that history is always moving forward, getting better. And step four is their main tool for getting the job done, the state, which organizes and carries out the grand plan.
And this wasn't just some random idea. This blueprint was designed by some of the absolute heavyweights of Western philosophy. You've got John Locke defining universal rights, you've got Karl Marx trying to map out the universal laws of history. Now, these guys disagreed on a ton of stuff, but they all shared that fundamental modernist faith, that they had found the key, the secret formula for improving the human condition. But right when this giant modernist project was really hitting its stride, a totally new way of thinking started to bubble up. And it didn't come with a new blueprint. It came to question the very idea that a blueprint could even exist. This is the postmodern question.
And this quote, it's just perfect. It nails the entire postmodern attitude in 3 words. A meta-narrative is just a fancy way of saying a grand story. A big, sweeping explanation for everything, like the modernist story of progress or a religious story of salvation. At its heart, postmodernism is all about being deeply skeptical of any single story that claims it has all the answers. So here's the absolute game changer. Where modernism is searching for one, capital T truth, postmodernism says, hold on, there's no such thing. Instead, there are lots of little truths, small t truths, and your version of the truth is totally shaped by your culture, your language, and crucially, your position of power in society. There's just no neutral, God's eye view of reality. And that leads to this radical new idea about power. For modernists, power was pretty simple. The government has it. But for a postmodern thinker like Michel Foucault, well, power is more like the air we breathe. It's everywhere. It's built into the very way we talk about things, what he called discourse. It's in the way a doctor defines what's healthy, or how a teacher decides what's correct. It's in our language, our schools, our hospitals. It's all over the place.
So, if power is hiding in plain sight, in our everyday ideas, how do you actually find it? Well, the postmodernists have a special tool for that, and it's called deconstruction. Think of it like taking a car engine apart piece by piece, not just to see how it works, but to ask, wait, why does it run on gasoline? Who decided that was the best way? Whose interests does that serve? The goal is to take an idea we all just accept as normal, like justice or progress, and show that it isn't neutral at all. It's packed with hidden biases and assumptions.
Okay, so we've met our 2 fighters, the hopeful architect and the skeptical critic. Now let's put them right next to each other and see exactly where their worldviews collide. And here it is, the main event, a fundamental disagreement about what truth even is. Modernism is on this epic quest for the truth, that one objective reality that applies to everyone. It loves big, hopeful stories. Postmodernism looks at those exact same stories and says, nope, those aren't paths to truth, they're tools that powerful groups use to keep their power. This table just lays it all out so clearly. When it comes to truth, modernism says it's universal, postmodernism says it's relative. For reason, modernism sees it as a pure, clean tool. Postmodernism says, well, actually it can be a weapon. And just look at power. Modernism sees it concentrated in one place, the state. Postmodernism sees it diffused everywhere, in every conversation. These two are running on completely different operating systems for reality.
So what's the point of all this, right? Well, this isn't just some abstract debate. This clash has massive, real-world consequences for how we approach politics and how we try to make the world a better place.
This is where the rubber really hits the road. A modernist solution to a problem might be to create a new government program or pass a big universal law, build a better system for everyone. But a postmodernist would be pretty skeptical of that. Their approach would be to focus on the people the current system ignores, to amplify the voices that have been silenced, and to challenge the very definitions that created the problem in the first place.
But maybe this isn't an either-or fight. What if the best way forward is actually to combine them? We can take that modernist drive, that big vision to build a better future, but use postmodernism's critical tools as a constant reality check. It's like the architect draws up the grand blueprint, but the critic is always standing over their shoulder asking, okay, but who does this building leave out in the rain? Whose voice didn't we hear in the planning meeting?
Which leaves us with this final, really important question. As we face all the huge challenges in the world today, what do we need more? Do we need the confident architect with a bold blueprint for the future? Or do we need the careful critic, constantly warning us to check our biases and listen to everyone? When you think about it, maybe the real answer is that you can't build anything that will actually last without both.